Johnny Cream here. We have a beautiful fall harvest from 2 different farms out in Virginia. We have Great Country Farms, which is where the apples, the donuts, the pie, and some of the cheese came from, as well as these jams and spreads. And then we also went to George's Mill Farm, which is a delightful little family-run farm that mainly raises goats. And so we have a bunch of great goat cheeses, goat's milk caramel, goat yogurt. I had been there before and all of their stuff was delicious, so I'm really excited to dive back in and try some more of it. Let's get cracking. All right, so we have some delicious fresh apple cider, easily the best fall beverage, Suck It pumpkin spice latte. And I'm gonna have some cold cider first with all of the savory goods, and then I'm gonna have some hot cider with all of the sweets at the end, because you gotta save the best for last, and hot apple cider is incredible. I will be drinking it out of the absolute most incredible Harry Potter mug ever created. You already got like beautiful design, but look at the inside, the Grim. Man, words cannot describe the gap of deliciousness there is between apple juice and apple cider. Apple cider is just so much better on every level. That's fantastic. Starting out with some delicious jalapeno cheddar. How could you go wrong with that combination? And this is from the Great Country Farms. I think I'm gonna go with the Ritz cracker for this one. I feel like Ritz and cheddar are a perfect match. It's not like a fancy cheese, so you don't want a fancy water cracker. Also, for each of these cheeses, I am going to try one by itself on the cracker, and then I'm going to determine its best partner from these jams and accompaniments. We have peach pepper jelly, which, oh god, it's gonna be hard not to pick this every time. I love pepper jelly with cheese so much. We have pumpkin butter, and then we also have black raspberry preserves. I love raspberry jam. It's probably my favorite all-purpose jam. I've never had black raspberry jam before, so excited to crack into that. And I did cheat slightly. There is one item here that I will be eating that's not from the haul from these farms, and that is this local honey from Northern California that me and my brother brought back. It just pairs too well with cheese to leave out, and they didn't have any like really fantastic looking local honey at these farms, so had to bring it. One piece, just Ritz cracker, sans accompaniments. The jalapeno flavor is more upfront than I expected it to be, which I really like. It's not an especially sharp cheddar. That's pretty fantastic. I would like it to be a little bit spicier and get a touch more jalapeno, but you know what I can do instead? Add some pepper jelly. Some sweet to go along with the delightful savory. If you've never tried pepper jelly with cheese before, you are missing it dearly. You can see some awesome pepper flakes right in there. Oh wow, this stuff is dense. It's not like super spreadable, it's almost like totally gelatinized. Instead of a spread, it's more like adding a chunk. So this is peach pepper jelly, which most pepper jelly that I've had, it's just pepper jelly. I haven't really had it with added fruit preserves in there before, but I love the fruit cheese combination, so. Wow, I shouldn't have started with this. This could easily end up being my favorite thing of the entire haul. Oh my god. The sweetness with the richness of the cheese is just such an incredible combination. It's not overly fruity either, not overpoweringly peachy. Even the fact that this is a whole wheat Ritz cracker and not a regular delicious buttery one cannot ruin how incredible that combination is. As I knew it was gonna happen, I'm gonna wanna pair every cheese with this pepper jelly now because it is so freaking good. Next up in our trio of cheddar cheeses that we have, this is the Mountain Home wood smoked cheddar cheese. No spice, but we're trading it for some nice smokiness on this one. I think I'm gonna go with the Ritz cracker for this again. I think all of the cheddars probably pair best with a nice Ritz. This is an end piece, so you can see I'm definitely gonna get a lot more smoke in these bites than I probably will on the rest of the cheese. I think we're gonna save the water crackers for the Chev and the blue cheese. It's almost like you're having some bacon with your cheddar. Much, much sharper than the other one. So I think I'm gonna have to swerve from the pepper jelly and try a little something different here. Very good, just a lot sharper, getting used to that smokiness, but I really enjoy it. I think with the smokiness, what I would like best is probably some of this local NorCal honey, which is just honestly the best honey that I've ever had, especially with cheese. Oh baby. Look at that honey perfectly drooping over the cheese and the cracker. Really interesting combo. The honey is, once again, phenomenal. Best honey I've ever had. It pairs pretty well with the smoked cheddar. I think would be at its absolute best in a more savory application. But you know what? I think I have one more thing I want to try quickly. And that is a piece with a nice apple. This will be sweet still, like the honey, but a little bit less so. I think it should pair pretty perfectly. And this is my first time trying one of these apples. I have no idea what kinds of apples I got, other than they are, you know, darker red, lighter red, and smaller and green. They didn't really have labels there, but I just got one of every kind they had. That's an even better combo than the honey. Tones back the sweetness a little bit, adds a little bit of a texture, and I love the contrast of the colder, crisper apple with such a dense, creamy, sharp cheddar. I think that pairs together really nicely. This cheese I would definitely like more in more savory applications generally, but still very good with the honey and even better with the apple. All right, so next we have some minced garlic cheddar cheese from the same company that did the wood smoked one, which was honestly really delightful. So I'm excited to hop into this because I would say I like garlic even more than smoke. Garlic is one of the greatest ingredients possible, so very excited to dive in. Again, going with the Ritz for all of these cheddars. How rich the cheese is, I think, on a nice rich cracker. Also a sharper cheddar. It tastes like a lot of garlic in the background, but not really at the forefront. It's more like between bites. I honestly would like more garlic with it. But it's still, the cheese itself is still very good. It'd be way too weird with any of the other spreads that we have here, except for the pepper jelly. Pepper jelly is the only one that can kind of be both savory and sweet. The honey would work too, I think, but I think that this cheese is better with savory rather than the sweet, and garlic and apples don't really go together so well. First thing I noticed is yet again how much I love the peach pepper jelly. It is clashing a little bit with the garlic cheese. The garlic cheese is pretty strong. I think that one stands on its own probably best, just with something that's not too strong itself, so the flavors aren't really clashing that much. Still good, but I'd say the jalapenos still is my favorite of the cheddars for sure. Next up is this raw milk blue cheese. This is a goat milk blue cheese as well. I love blue cheese, especially paired with fig jam. I think the closest thing we've got on the board here would probably be that black raspberry jam. Once I confirm after tasting a bit on just a cracker, we'll probably use that as its accompaniment. Oh yeah, this is definitely gonna be pretty funky. You can tell by just looking at it. You know when it kind of like looks like it may have been pulled out of a crypt, that it's gonna be a funkier cheese? There's a lot of blue veins in this. The rind is very ashy. I'm not gonna eat the rind. I hate eating the rinds of cheeses. I will be diving into a different cracker for this one. I'm gonna use the water crackers. It's pretty funky, so I don't know if I need any extra richness. It is strong, but not overpoweringly so. I know this sounds obvious to say for a blue cheese, but some strange flavor. Not like typical blue cheese flavor. I think it's more maybe some of the age. I do still think that the black raspberry preserves will probably be your best accompaniment for this. It is dark for sure, but you can see like around the edges that it's got the faintest bit of that like blueberry dark violet color. Definitely don't need a lot. Gonna go a little bit lighter than I have for the cheddars, which you could kind of pile on. Raspberry preserves are great. It definitely helps mask some of the funk of the blue cheese. Overall, it's a little bit strong and a little bit dry of a blue cheese for me. I like it to be a little bit creamier and not so crumbly. I think that's kind of why the flavor is so concentrated as well. The black raspberry preserves I am very pleased with. These were really fantastic and I'm excited to use some more of this. Actually, you know what? I think right now I'm gonna take a piece of the green apple. Not as sour as your regular green apple. I like the small red apple that I had earlier better, but this is still leaps and bounds better than most of the green apples you get in a grocery store. Goes great with the black raspberry. I almost feel like I want like an apple pie with some black raspberry preserve sauce over top of it because that paired really, really well together. That was delightful. We're gonna move into the chèvres now. We have two of them. This is a garlic and herb chèvre. These are the cheeses that I got the last time I visited George's Mill Farm, and I loved them. And these I also think will go best on a water cracker. I'm not really afraid to pile this one on there either. It's some pretty mild cheese, super spreadable. That's fantastic. The Chev means you don't get nearly as much funk that you do from normal goat cheeses. It's almost like a cream cheese, but it's like less funky than a cream cheese, and it's less dense too. I would like more garlic and herb in it, but the cheese itself is really just awesome. I love this style of cheese, and I love this style of cheese with pepper jelly. I've tried not to lean too heavy into the pepper jelly and use it for every cheese, but I'm not gonna deliberately deny this cheese its highest form. I just know that this is gonna be a winner. The Chev pairs so well with sweetness. The sweetness with the Chev is better than the sweetness with any of the other cheeses. I still think the jalapeno cheddar with the pepper jelly is my favorite, but just generally, the Chev is born for a nice sweet accompaniment. This next one is a honey Chev. Also gonna go with a water cracker for this. Very mild honey flavor, not super distinguishable from regular Chev. If someone told you it was just regular Chev, they might just think like, oh, it's a little sweet for normal Chev, but wouldn't think something was up. So this one I'm gonna try something a little bit different. Since Chev pairs so well with sweet things and pretty much all of the side accompaniments are sweet, I'm gonna try multiple and kind of try to partition off each bite. I haven't gotten to use the pumpkin butter yet. There's actually no butter in it. It's just really pumpkin, apple juice, and some preservatives. It just has that nice butter-like spread to it. This is a little bit looser than I expected, but nice and spreadable, I'm sure. I think this will go very well with some honey Chev. Pumpkin butter. I think I would like it if it was a little bit thicker, but it's kind of like liquid pumpkin pie spread. More fruitiness, I would say, a little bit less of that condensed milk, custardy richness, and that's part of it is also because it's looser. You can tell that there's been the apple pureed in there. It brings out like that more fall apple fruity flavor. Perfectly spiced, really, really well spiced. Enjoy that combination a lot. It's honey Chev, so why not do some actual honey with it? And yet again, there's really nothing that looks nearly as appetizing as the golden syrup of honey draped over some delicious white cheese. Also delightful. So I'm gonna do a little bit of the black raspberry preserves. Those preserves have a really nice tang, and since it's such a mild cheese, that's also a great blend together. Even though I think the jalapeno cheddar is probably the best, if you want versatility, it's really hard to beat the Chev, especially the honey Chev, because you can still go savory with the honey Chev easily. Even though I like urban garlic a little bit more, I wish there was more urban garlic, but harder to pair garlic with a lot of sweet things, like very sweet things. I don't really want to pair garlic with pumpkin butter. That sounds kind of gross. The honey Chev, I mean, the world is your oyster here. Actually, I'm gonna even do one last bite of honey Chev on one of these larger red apples. It also just, God, spreads on so easily. Delicious. This Chev is just such a great multi-purpose player. Also, I can confirm the small red apple is probably my favorite, followed by the larger red apple and then the green apple. Not as big of a green apple person, but all of the apples are great, which you would expect from an apple orchard. Last thing before I go on the savory side. While I have it out here, I might as well dive into what I know is going to be a killer combo. Delightful pumpkin butter on top of an apple. You lose some of the pumpkinness, but between the texture and the spices of the pumpkin butter, it just immediately transports you to apple pie. Because it has that like stewed apple flavor a little bit in the pumpkin butter. And it's got that smoothness that cooked apples have, almost like applesauce-like quality, and then all of the spices. Wow, that was also really, really good. Maybe the highest purpose for the pumpkin butter. Both farms, absolutely killing it. Loved all this stuff.